Good evening, everybody.
Okay,
Welcome back. Our featured poet this evening is Sizakele Nkosi. You are calling in from Kimberley.
yes,
Beautiful, beautiful. Sizakele is a lecturer, a creative writing lecturer at Salt Lake University. She's also a jazz enthusiast. I'm very, very excited to have a conversation about South African jazz potentially. I hope to hear some of your thoughts and what you're listening to, that sort of thing. And your current project is looking at the Bototso Jesters. I also look forward to hearing what you're interested in and where the project is going. Sizakele, whenever you're ready, please start for us.
okay, sorry guys, just 1 second. Sorry, thank you. Um, and I just want to say the Red Wheelbarrow, thank you for having us. So I will be reading from Ogrand Mahune, my poetry collection that came out last year by Bototo. And I will start with Isn't It Evening. Ziyachichima ibaya ekhaya. Ugogo uzethe zonke ngamagama. Ngelinye ilanga enye yezinkomazi yaselwa uyeni. Sayisipongoloza ngomlomo. Mama, ayashisa amabele, ubisi lugcwele, ithole liyafa indlala, ngicela ivulele salukazi. Wavula ugogo, lathokoza ithole, lathoba unina ngokulincela, sasekelela nathi ngokulisenga, sawuphuza ufudumele ubisi, hhayi ngoba ngiphuma phakathi kwezinto ey'ningi. Ngiphuma emanqweni, emisamo edume ivunguvungu ezaleni, lapho abadala balinde khona, lapho abafazi bagubha ngamadolo aphukile. Ngibazi kahle ubuhlungu bokufelwa izinto ey'khonzile. Ujeke lokufaka imbali. Indaba zesitofu samalahle sikagogo ngakhiwe ngomlotha. Ngithula izinto iy'tukuthele, hhayi ngoba ngiphuma phakathi kwezinto ey'phukile. And the translation reads, broken things. Pearls in my homestead are overflowing. Grandmother has named them all. One day a heifer was laid to return to the great house. We heard it billowing. Mama, my teeth are in heat. There's abundant milk and the calf is emaciated. Please let me in, old lady. Grandmother opened up to the calves. We also helped. No, I do not come out of broken things. I come from maternal quarters, ancestral altars dusted by whirlwinds. At the hearth, The elders lie there waiting while women kneel on bended knees. I know the sorrow of losing what I held dear, a vase in which flowers are kept, the cold stove tales of grandmother. I am built of ashes. I break things, not because I come out of broken things. Okay, the second poem I'd like to share is titled For My Uncles, Manda and Jabu in Exile. Malum Manda, I found your children on Facebook, Nomagugu and Temba. We talk now and then, share memories of you, pictures you carried when skipping the country, and the ones we took at your funeral. They were born in exile, still live far, far from home. We will welcome them with a gold vial one day when history remembers unmarked graves. I remember Joe. I saw him at a funeral last week. He cried when he saw me, said, I remind him of you guys. He said the last time he saw you, Malunjabu, your face was covered in blood. He thought you were dead. Now let me update you with the news in Dube. Sparks died drunk and broke. Rawandi runs a restaurant and B&B. Other men are limping and stammering, loitering, raising grandchildren. Amshong last took a bath in 1982 when Amabumu hit his head at the back of an AK-47. He walks around with pieces in plastic bags, doesn't have an ID. What can we do? The moon remembers the day left. When Laponia sold the supermarket to ShopRite, so many other plaza shops closed down and the Pakistans took over. It's still rough round Dube Hostel. They bomb ATMs, break into shops. Makadama is still there, still sells goods, but also struggling, like the flower shop next to the butchery, flowers shadowed by strands of hair as litter grows from the ground. Most neighbors have extended their houses, 3 bedrooms and a garage. The apricot and peach trees are gone. All we have are broken street lights and street humps. A lot of people you know have died. Langeni passed on last year. They gave him a state funeral. The whole army was there. Brajo introduced me to some members. Mshanaga Jabu Bob Madibo. Eyes running over me, they attended to their drinks. Can you believe that Tokyo married Ingamla and left Dube? I used to see his mother at Fatima's the time I attended Mass every Sunday. Soweto can't afford electricity. People write their names down for food parcels. You loved this country so much that you left it. And what happened to the spear of the nation? I wonder what was written in your letters, a litany of dead or corrupt comrades. All the letters you wrote from exile, how did you send them? Because I never received them. I can hear the fridge breathing and a soft soprano sound from outside. I hear the mosquitoes buzzing and a heavy silence from the walls. Ama Apollo moving cars and neighbors' windows are disturbing the night's glow. The light on the ceiling burdens my eyes. I recall Mom's memory of Malunjabu coming home. He used to leave a small bottle of umuti outside the gate, so the police would only arrive after he had left. I go to the bathroom, lock myself in the mirror, pee and flush, go back to the bathroom, listen to running water fill up the pool. I light my scented candle, think of all the ones I loved who died. I roll Impepo into a stick, watch it smoke fill this old house. I fall on my knees and call my loved ones by their names. But ngiyangingisa when I want to speak to Malunjabu. What if he's dead? What if he's still alive? Your constant life flows into unbalanced bodies who search for God and fear peace. You stand tall, you stand close and high, confident the sun will rise, while I don't know who holds my insecurities tonight. Take all the hard pieces of my soul, make them soft again. I envy your completeness. You never take shade of the stars or mute your glow behind clouds. You are full in your moonness while I beg sexiness from thick lips of men and skin my happiness in desires that never survived dawn. Sunlight. I remember the rusty blue kitchen cupboards, the day hanging on their hinges, the day my father left. It doesn't bother me much that the president is on the news promising houses, building ramps for the disabled, and that people fight for title deeds with witchcraft. Pain makes God-fearing people sin. We go through Sundays babalized. Remember Christ on Good Friday, singing for a moment. We offer ourselves up because death scares us. We melt sunlight in a tin for recycling purposes. Wash our bodies with sunlight, mask our faces with sunlight. God showed up dressed in dirty flesh, distributing duplicate keys to unlock heaven. Mama's story. Mama's husband died in the arms of another woman. His body was found cold on an instantaneous cemetery. His liver had stopped working. Mama arranged for his body to be buried close to home. Mama's sister, Dora, bled ceaselessly in Paraguana Hospital. Her death was unfair to Mama. It gave her 6 more children to raise. Mama's brother, Amanda, was assassinated in Washington, D.C. He was flown to South Africa in a beautiful American casket, buried in Avalon Cemetery. His grave has a black, green, and gold tombstone. Mama's mother died when I was 6. The apartheid police banged the door so hard that her heart stopped. Mama might have seen her daughter Maggie's soul leave her body at the Johannesburg jail. She was sitting in a wheelchair smiling at Mama, and then she closed her eyes. Mama says if I wasn't around, she would have been dead by now. I am Mama's beloved, her beloved daughter, beloved husband, beloved sister, beloved brother. Pot plant. Nothing ever grows in my home except a small pot of coriander barely surviving on the kitchen windowsill. It spices the meat in the fridge. In my closet, I have paints neatly folded for morning. I mostly pick the ones that don't need ironing, so it's easy to be convinced that I used to love you. Okay. Naked. Behind the open curtains, my body in the window glowed, reflecting a star's moon. In the glass, my curves were a love story composed by the sides of my womb. Knees that kiss do not always please each other, but they belong. On my heavy legs, below my dimpled thigh, there is a sharing of souls. Hearts on my belly spread the pulse to the rest of my organ. Mountains guard my heart, soft rain gathers in my mouth, then storms out. Love belongs in my heart. My body speaks the truth. I'm naked and flying. Okay, I have two more to read from here. Okay. Little Girl's Creed. 1. The little girl from Ghana has a big voice. She talks angrily when she speaks. She maintains good eye contact, but never says much. Since she moved to Mzansi, her father has touched her body 3 times. The last time was really bad. Her skin turned blue. Now she wears the same blue dress to mass on Sundays, watches her father pray at the foot of the cross with 10 votive candles shining on his face. She tries hard to remember the creed, goes to bed without it. But after a while, she gives up on prayer, dreams of making dresses when she grows up. 2. There's a little girl in my English class. Her father is in the SGB. Everybody knows that he's unable to hold himself. He slapped a nun across the face once. Now there's a rumor that he's the free-handed man at home. His little girl doesn't know where to look. Every day she watches her father stand up for communion during the weekday mass. She tries hard to remember the creed that God loves everybody, draws her mother's bruised body instead at the back of her exercise book. 3. Another girl came to school hallucinating. She thought death was following her. She found her mother drowning in the bath the night after her father won the title match against her mother's body. This little girl doesn't even try to learn the creed. She knows which number to call when her father touches her mother's body. Her creed is 911. Ugrand malume, Tujabu Masbugo. I was 9 months old in prison with my mother on the dawn of a march, so long it ceased to matter. My mother's heart broke inside my mouth that day. I was feeding on her right breast from 5 a.m. until 8 p.m. We were in a small holding cell at the Protea police station. Our crime and letter we never received. Malume, you had written from exile, though not one letter ever reached us. The telephone didn't ring with your voice, but the security police detained us anyway, demanding we account for a body whose bones we still wish to bury. My nephew rash worsened. If only Mama knew your grave number, Malume, or the house number of your current residence. Now I hear you genuflect, kiss the bleeding feet of a white man. You are drunk and guilty of the sins of the body, cunnilingus, masturbation, homosexuality. You sit alone at a table, bottles of Corona on ice, staring at seriously sad-looking women dying of thirst, 6 sealed brutal foods on a mountain of ice. You sleepwalk between taxi madness, smoke from chicken dust lurch into the house of an angry wife. You drive around the whole night from one open spot to another, dance the piano drum line until your sweat floods the floor. You lost your guns and boots. You lost your pen and children on your way to freedom. Blood and wine. When I go to bed, my body cannot tell the difference between blood and wine. I have a recurring dream of Jesus Christ preaching to his followers at a tavern in Zola with only 3 of his 12 disciples, Lihlonolo, Mncedisi, and Nkosi. Lihlonolo is the only priest in the hood who handles burials of drunks, even faithfuls who owe abelo to the church with solemnness of a devout Catholic. In my dream, Mncedisi runs little errands like refilling the ice bucket, and Nkosi is just a vibe. He makes everyone laugh. Mbali is he and his disciples. She's wearing a black leather skirt and bouncing one butt at a time to the beat of the song. I try to grab the shoelace of the Messiah's all-star Converse, but he lifts his foot up, puts it back onto the ground, and lifts me up with his eyes. Hey, man, I'm not in the mood for miracles today. My faith collapses while he continues to raise the 5-liter box wine and the 2 Gordons in front of him. On gentle nights, I dream of little girls and young Black women who call me mom instead of ma'am. A young woman says, I tried to kill a baby last night and now the baby is stuck in my womb. What do I say to her? I tell her to be brave and go to the hospital. The woman I want to be covers herself with white clouds. She doesn't know what to do with her body. Demons thrive in desire and angels whisper in her ears. She loves equally like the Brazilian poet, sex and Jesus with the same passion. She leaves the clouds to boil some water and discovers that the mint for her tea is dead because herbs can't heal themselves. A little twinkle from the sky sends her back to the clouds again. She follows the sounds of sleep and oceans hidden under her skin so that she doesn't drown in her sleep. Sometimes she rides horses all night and wakes up with watermarks round the corners of her lips down her chin. She's not allowed to kill snakes. She's not afraid of snakes. She is a statue of Mary with a dead serpent at her feet. If you come and find me dripping from the rain, I'll take your walking stick and lean it on the edge of my universe. We will do the great dance, the sublime poetry of the pelvis, just like in Ndlala's poem. If you find me dry, with no lemon in my water, no pen in my hand, my universe will fill its gates with hymen and prickles. Okay, I'd like to read the last one. I will read the Zulu version first and then read the translation. Amaphela nenkukhu. Amaphela agqoka amabikini asnacks ngo-August kuma-aya e-beach. Amanye ajayiva phansi e-dining room ngesikhathi uma exoxa nesikhulu anti wasemadade. Ubuso kama buyancibilika uma khona inkawu lephela etiyeni ka-anti. U-anti naye ulanda iy'ngane zamaphela ngama-teaspoon ayi-4 kashukela. Wonke amaphela aphuma ebusuku ngo-August, just for ukujayiva emakhabetheni nasemasilingini wamakamera. Idum awayizwa amaphela ngo-August, enza iphathi ngokufa kusithanda sami. Ama-leaves wami we-cranberry aphenduka ama-leaves we-aloe vera. Ngokuthando angeke uconfirm. I-orange ngathi kude ukugijimisa ukushona kwelanga. Konke okukade ku-green kuba brown nge-winter. Kulinde ilanga noma indodana ukuthi kuye nama-honeycombs nama-citrus fruit. Nge-Black Friday yonke into is for sale. Ukidisalethi wehlisa i-price y'nkomo zikababakhe ngale kwe-purple kunobuhlungu besono. Red ingozi, red is for uvalo. buza iinkukhu zizokutshela, because igazi lazo likhuluma nabadala. And here's the translation of the poem: The Cockroaches and the Chicken. Cockroaches in August wear city bikinis to the beach. Others dance on the dining room floor when mom is talking to an important visitor, my rich aunt from Ematadin. Mom's face melts when an albino cockroach swims in auntie's tea. Auntie collects 3 more infant cockroaches with 4 teaspoons of sugar. All the cockroaches in August come out at night to dance on kitchen counters and bedroom ceilings. All of them in August are immune to die roach. They don't die. They rejoice the death of a loved one. My cranberry lips turn into aloe vera leaves because love changes. Orange seems far away when chasing the sunset. Things that were once green return to brown in winter and wait for either the sun or the sun to return back with honeycombs and citrus fruit. On Black Friday, everything is for sale. Kitty Saleti sells her father's cows at a discount price. Beyond the color purple is the sorrow of sin. Red is for danger, red is for fear. The chicken knows this. Its blood speaks to the dead. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Could we all turn our mics on and give Sizakele a big round of applause? That was spectacular. Wow. Yo, where do we start? Do you mind if this part of the reading is recorded, or would you prefer if I switched it off?
I beg your pardon?
So would you like me to stop recording at this point, or can the conversation be a part of your video that will be released at some point? Is that okay?
Okay, let's go.
If anyone has a
Thanks.
question or a comment, please raise your hand, or you can type it up in the chat box. I'm sure. There's this I mean, I kept thinking about just the storytelling throughout the reading, and I wondered if that's part of your approach, either. Just this idea of telling stories through poetry. Is that, is that something that you do naturally, or is it not intentional? Or does it depend on the poem? Because I think it's there in all of them. They are characters and they are journeys.
Yeah, I do my sister, I don't know, I'm a storyteller, and it's sort of a
Mm,
form that I'm comfortable with because I think it's relatable also. But I like the idea of telling stories through poetry.
mm, mm,
Yes,
mm,
so it is intentional. Because these poems, were sort of written as prayers for
mm.
my uncles who went to exile and never returned. So I'm just updating them on what's going on in the society. hence the storytelling form in this book. Yeah.
Beautiful. Stories and memoirs, archive, yeah.
Family revolutionary people, since you're writing a very revolutionary connotation, like connotations are very like bringing back the past or before apartheid system back into today's society. And you talk about mental illness as well, which is the outcome of war. You guys hear me? Really?
Yes, I don't know if Sizakele got all of that.
I'm sorry, Sissy.
Sorry.
I didn't hear. Sorry, I didn't catch what you were saying.
Since in your writing, I sense that you are a revolutionary writer. I don't know if I'm clear, like in terms of your connotations, like war, before apartheid, past apartheid, war. Is that your style of writing, like revolutionary type of thing?
You know, honestly, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's a style, but these poems came in that way because I think I was dealing with revolutionary subjects, of what happened after the uprising in Soweto in 76. So I was just trying to figure things out with the poems, and I guess they came out revolutionary because they are political, especially because of the setting. I mean, I come from Soweto. These come from the backdrop of the hood, which is a very political space for Black people to live in. So I suppose it shaped itself like this, um, especially in this book. Yes. Thank you.
Can't wait to read. Can't wait to read your book.
Thank you. Yes, it's available out there. Ukraine Malume, thank you.
Thank you. There's a comment in the chat box from Dimakatso says Caesar delivers difficult subjects in her poems with such gentleness. The result is this deceptive calmness that soothes. We're expected to do otherwise. I think that's a fair
Thanks, also.
and wonderful observation. Does anybody else have a question or comment? Don't see any hands.
I live in Khayelitsha, ne? I stay in Khayelitsha. I was born and bred here. Born and bred in Cape Town. So I'm not from the Eastern Cape, even though I'm Xhosa, but I was born here. It's funny, you know what I mean? So I see the products of war, of what happened to our people every single day when I come out of my mother's house. You know what I mean? How can we change our predicament as Black people? Because in the Somalian shops, our brothers are asking for 2 rand, 1 rand. You know what I mean? Our sisters are begging for food with 3 children, 5 children, talking about my reality. How can we change that in Cape Town? It's been years, man. Years has been happening.
Yes. Yes. Where do we start? I see Jacques' hand is raised and Itumaleng. Or not? No? Itumaleng?
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you very much, Caesar, for the invite. I always, well, every time you read a poem, for me, it's very emotive. Because the stories you tell, basically, you like a mirror. You mirror what's happening in our society in terms of the social ills that we face on a daily basis. And for example, blood and wine. It's a major issue, alcoholism, that people use alcohol to drown their sorrows. And through your poetry, and you're able to share with us that glimpse that plagues parts of our society, the use of alcoholism, especially within our Black communities. But just thank you very much and keep up the good work with the poems. And I look forward to hearing some more, and also to reading more books besides the poems. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Thank you, Tamaling. I agree. It's, yeah, for some of us, this is how we reckon with, the state of our country. Poetry is, a vehicle for that. Poetry has, the ability to make us pause and see things clearer for some reason. Last few questions or comments, and then we can open the mic. Robert has a question. Robert, go for it, please.
Thanks. The thing is, unfortunately, the sound wasn't good, and we also didn't have a text. So, it would just be very nice because the poetry, I don't even see if Caesar's here, but the poetry is very complex, actually, as Dimakatso was sort of implying too. She's, and I'll speak as if I'm speaking to Caesar. Caesar, so you're writing about, there's a very strong historical sort of theme in the whole thing. I know that comes about because your family was very involved in 1976. Your uncles were student leaders, and they both went into exile. And one of them never came back. So there's a strong kind of emotional tie into that. But then there's also a lot of other themes going on in the. There's quite a lot of love poems and erotic poems. There's quite a lot of interest in language and how English language is kind of, changed in a township, how it's kind of used expressively in a different way from how English people speak. There's a lot of interest in what's happening with language, and I like the way that you also writing in both Zulu and English. So there are all these, and there's a lot of spiritual poems as well, actually. And there's a lot of interest in spirituality and also the distortions of the church, but also African spirituality. I just think there's a hell of a lot going on in your poems, and you just have to keep working on all those themes at the same time, because none of them's, more important or less important than other ones. So I feel there's tremendous depth and also a kind of musicality, interest in music, and how the voice comes across, how the voice is articulated. I just think you've got lots of things going on, and I hope you can keep them all going, because they'll all come together in some massive poem, or some massive books anyway in the next few decades. So that's my comment.
Thank you, Robert. I think Caesar has left us momentarily, but she will hear all of this. So maybe on that note, we can give a one last round of applause, and then I'll stop the video.